This is extremely disturbing because they've come here to attack us.
Could it be that he's in a freaking gang?
And that's just a stone cold fact.
Cenk Uygur just collided with Vincent Oshana in a wild face-off on Piers Morgan Uncensored. It wasn't just loud, it was a full-blown verbal war. Trump's immigration plan, free speech, Palestine. They went toe-to-toe on the most explosive issues in America right now. Cenk went off, Vinny clapped back. Even Piers had to step in. This debate wasn't for the faint-hearted. It was bold, messy, and brutally honest. So what actually happened? Who made sense? Here's a breakdown of the chaos.
Yeah, first of all, I don't stipulate to any of your facts. I don't believe they're facts at all. They've never been proven in court. They've never even been shown in court. They're just BS that the Trump administration is throwing out.
Two big deportation stories. One involving this El Salvadorian, Kilmar Garcia, who's been sent to a prison in El Salvador, the country where he's come from. Now, he was residing in the United States. He was an illegal immigrant, but he was married in the United States with 3 children, all with special needs. He has always emphatically denied being a member of this gang, MS-13, despite the authorities believing that, from one source I understand, although he was on a list to be deported, I believe, his lawyers argued successfully that his life would be in danger if he was sent back to El Salvador from other gangs who had threatened him previously. What is your view of this? I mean, are you comfortable with America sending people from the United States to an El Salvadorian prison? And given they've accepted this appears to have been an administrative error in sending him because of this order in place not to send him back, why do they not just pick the phone up, the administration, to El Salvador's president and get him back?
The speaker criticizes the Trump administration for deporting Kilmar Garcia, an undocumented immigrant with 3 special needs children, despite a legal order preventing it. Garcia denies gang ties and faces danger in El Salvador. The speaker questions why the US doesn't just contact El Salvador's president to correct the mistake. He calls the situation unjust and urges compassion in immigration decisions.
Some of them are really dangerous, as we saw with the gangs that were attacking the homes in Aurora, Colorado. But from my perspective in China, we know that a certain number of Chinese migrants are either Ministry of State Security agents or they are People's Liberation Army officers or soldiers. And they are coming here for no good because we are seeing this increased tempo of incursions and attempted incursions in our military bases, these drone flights, all the rest of it. This is extremely disturbing because they've come here to attack us. They're looking at our patterns, they're looking for our vulnerabilities, and they are ready to strike. So yes, we do need to deport a substantial number of people because this is a matter of national survival. And yes, the Trump administration should admit it made a mistake in this particular case and bring him back. There's no question about that.
Yeah, I mean, Cenk, there's the other case is the Mahmoud Khalil case, who was the head of this very aggressive pro-Palestinian group at Columbia University, who was sort of leading the mob, as we saw at the time, who was seen reportedly distributing pro-Hamas literature. Now, he's there on a green card in the United States, which has different rules of due process, it turns out, because if you are there on a green card, and Josh and I discussed this on Bill Maher, but there is a difference in how you're treated in terms of due process to an American citizen.
The speaker expresses concern over national security threats, citing dangerous gangs and Chinese migrants allegedly linked to China's military and intelligence. These individuals are accused of spying and preparing for attacks on the US. They also mentioned the Malkil case, a pro-Palestinian activist on a green card, arguing that green card holders have different due process rights than US citizens.
And it seemed to me, and the argument I made on Bill Maher was, that if this guy had repeated exactly what he believes about wanting the destruction of Western civilization, about distributing pro-Hamas literature, etc. If he'd done all that at his interview for his green card, he would have been rejected a green card to come into the United States. So by that principle, why should the United States not be able to deport him, as indeed it appears they have the legal authority to do so?
Yeah, first of all, I don't stipulate to any of your facts. I don't believe they're facts at all. They've never been proven in court. They've never even been shown in court. They're just BS that the Trump administration is throwing out. There's two different issues here. One is, how do you do the deportations? And if you're in favor of the deportations, then you should be upset at Donald Trump, because he's doing the cause of deporting criminals that are undocumented from here harm by overstepping for no reason. So this guy, Garcia guy, was, they even admit in court, sent there by error. So why don't you bring him back? Why are you insisting on sending the wrong guys to the dungeon in El Salvador? Why are you even insisting on sending people to a dungeon in El Salvador? So that doesn't make any sense. We have perfectly good prisons here. We could deport people. So I'm not telling you not to deport MS-13 or the Venezuelan gang. I'm telling you to go ahead and deport them. Just don't deport people that aren't in that gang.
One side argues that anti-Western, pro-Hamas individuals should be deported if such views would have barred them entry. The other side counters that many deportations lack legal proof and wrongly target innocents like Garcia, calling for focus on actual criminals, not administrative errors. They emphasize fairness and due process in deportation decisions. The debate highlights the tension between national security and human rights.
So we're asking for just bare minimum due diligence and due process, which is really, really important, because that isn't about the immigrants. That's about our Constitution. And our Constitution does apply to naturalized citizens today. In fact, it applies to every person that's here. Yes, there's some rights like voting that doesn't apply to green card holders, but the Supreme Court has said for 200 years the First Amendment applies to them, which brings us to the second issue. Why are we snatching up critics of Israel? Not even America, not any other country, not any other religion, not anything but beloved, sacred Israel, and having mass men grab them off the streets for writing an op-ed against Israel, talking about economic sanctions and boycotts, not anything militaristic, not anything related to terrorism. So notice no critic of China or Russia or America is getting rounded up. Only critics of Israel are getting rounded up, and that's just a stone cold fact. So I don't like Israel running this country, which is obviously what's happening. I'm sick of it when Biden sent blank check after blank check to do the ethnic cleansing of the Palestinians. And now Trump says, hold my beer. I could do even better. I'm just going to, any critic of Israel, I'm going to trash the First Amendment. He was theoretically for freedom of speech. This is cancel culture on steroids, where a foreign government cancels people inside this country because they dared to criticize Israel. It's totally, utterly unacceptable, and it's destroying our Constitution on behalf of a foreign government. Totally unacceptable.
The speaker argues that due process and constitutional rights apply to all individuals in the US, including immigrants and green card holders. They express concern that critics of Israel are uniquely being targeted, unlike critics of other countries. Peaceful dissent, like writing op-eds or advocating for boycotts, is being punished, which they see as a violation of First Amendment rights.
All right, Vinny, I can see you ready to let rip. Josh, I'll come to you in a moment, but Vinny, I can see you simmering like a volcano there.
Yeah. Well, well, first things first, Piers, when it comes to the deportations and how do we get here? How do we get to the point where we have to reverse and send illegal gang members to get the hell out of our country? Is because the Biden administration with Alejandro Mayorkas literally let a freaking invasion of the country happen with zero accountability, okay? Because he got a pre-pardon too. Let's move on to that. You mean to tell me out of the thousands and thousands that Homeland Security with Thomas Homan and Kristi Noem, that we've deported these freaking murderous gangsters, we have one guy that nobody on this panel knows because none of us have the actual inside scoop, is a freaking gang member. And why is he fearing for his life in another place by other gangs? Could it be that he's in a freaking gang? All right, none of us know. Okay, none of us know the thing, but if it's one, and we're asking Piers, why haven't they called and tried to get this guy out? Maybe he was in a gang, okay? Let's think about that. And going to Cenk's point, Cenk, you know I'm with you, brother. America, if you're an American, freedom of speech, First Amendment, you could talk all the shit you want, whenever you want about anything, because I'm a free speech absolutist. But if you are here, Cenk, and you're here on a green card to try to come here and learn and listen. I'm sorry, Cenk, you're handing out pro-Hamas shit and you're trying to rally the troops and try to get people angry. And here's my thing, Piers, talk First Amendment all you want. If you're hitting and fucking abusing Jewish students, I'm sorry, Cenk, that shit doesn't fly with me at all.
That's a crime.
At all. Okay?
But Vinny, he didn't do that.
That's a crime. So
he didn't do
shouldn't
that.
be-
That's a
Well, hold on.
crime. If you
Piers
hit a
made
Jewish
good
student,
point.
of
Hold on,
course you're a
Piers.
goner.
So what do you think? Was Cenk just loud, or was Vinny out of his depth? This wasn't just a political clash. It was a cultural explosion. The kind of debate that forces you to pick a side, or question everything. Let me know where you stand in the comments. I want to hear your take. If you're into debates that actually mean something, this is the channel for you. Hit that like, smash subscribe, and share this with someone who needs to see it. Thanks for sticking around. And trust me, things are just getting started.